So hi there and welcome to your energetic morning flow. We're going to start on our back in Supta Baddha Konasana. So that means that your soles of your feet are together and you're just letting your knees flop out to the side. Now you can choose where you put your arms. They can be up ahead like I have them, or they can be down by your sides. If that's a little bit too stretchy for you as well, you can place blocks under your knees, or you can even put your knees up if it's just a little bit too much for you. And just relax here. Let's establish our breathing, taking nice big deep breaths in through our nose and exhaling through our nose as well. And just grounding yourself, ready for your yoga practice today. So just keeping your breathing going and just settling down, feeling the nice stretch in the inside of your thighs. And then we'll get ready just to put our hands behind our head, clasping your hands behind your head, but not wrenching your neck up at all. We're going to lift our shoulders off the floor. Okay, so your shoulder blades and your elbows will be up, but don't wrench your head up. And when we lift it up the next time, what we're going to do is bring our knees in just like that, okay? So we are going to exhale and come up. Inhale, knees in. Exhale, knees out. Inhale, come back down. And let's keep going with that. So your head's coming up, knees are coming in, knees are coming out, and then coming back down. And we're just going to do a few of them and get your breathing established as you're coming up. And try and take a breath for every single part of it as well. And remember that neck, okay? We want to try and keep our neck nice and aligned so that we're not hurting our neck. Shoulder blades off the floor. And if that's a little bit too much for you, you can always just leave your legs out as they are or keep them in. So what we're going to do now is lift our legs up off the floor. So they're sort of parallel to the ground, shins are parallel. And even that, you'll feel your core switching on a little bit, even when you're doing that. But what we're going to do again is we're going to exhale, curl up just like we did before, and put our left leg nice and long. That's it. And then inhale. And then exhale the other side. So we're not coming back down in between times. Our core is constantly engaged and we are pointing our feet. Now you're hovering just a couple of inches off the floor here with your feet. If that's a little bit too challenging, again, you can rest your feet as well. But remember, when you're coming back up, try and keep your shins parallel to the floor. And it can be a wee bit tough, this one. So just do what you can. And coming back down, and just relaxing. Now feet are coming out to about hip width apart, and we're going to press into our big toes. We're going to lift our bottoms up. We're going to, as if we're trying to send our knees and our tailbone forward into bridge pose. Pressing into your big toes, really squeezing your thighs in, don't let those knees come out, and gently rolling back down again. Okay, now what we're going to do is your right leg's ankle's going to come over your left leg, and make sure your feet are flexed and make sure that ankle's right over, and send that right knee away so your hip opens up and come up to the bridge again. Pushing up, keep pushing up. It is more challenging, this one. Press into that left foot as well. Switching on, keep the breathing going. Don't hold your breath either. That's it. And then we're just going to lower back down again on an exhale. Then we're going to do a reverse pigeon. So that means lifting your leg off the floor and holding on to your thigh. Again, if that's too much, you can leave that leg in the floor. But remember to send that right knee away from you to open up that hip. So you should feel a lovely big opening in your glutes and hips in your right hand side. Relax your shoulders and just concentrate on that breathing as well. So just remembering to keep that breathing going and trying to relax those muscles around that hip joint there. And just letting that left foot come back down. We're going to come into half happy baby now. So just let that left knee sort of just lay out to the side, however you like. You're going to take the outside of your right foot and make sure your elbow's on the inside. And you're pulling that foot kind of out and down. We're not hauling it. If that's, again, a bit too much for you, you can hold on to the back of your thigh as well. But this is quite a big hip opening. So just gently letting the weight of your hand pull your foot down and out to the side as well to open up as much as we can, and don't worry too much about your left knee. So bringing it all back down, we're going to do the same on the other side. So left ankle over the right foot, remember, both feet flexed. Send that left knee away, and then we're going to come up to that bridge pose. So really pushing your tailbone up and forward, press into that standing foot there. Sending the left knee away, so you're opening up the hip and using your core, and relax your shoulders as well. Keeping that breathing going and slowly coming back down. We're going to come into that reverse pigeon again. So keeping the feet flexed to protect the joints. Remembering to send the left knee away as much as you can, and feel the opening in this side. And of course, no two sides will be the same, so it might feel a lot easier or worse on this side. But keep the breathing going, don't clamp on. The more you relax, the more benefit you'll get out of this pose. So just gently coming out of that pose, we're going to come into that half happy baby again. So just leave your right knee to fall out if you like, holding on to the outside of the left foot and elbow on the inside. And you're gently, we're not pulling, we're not hauling, gently just letting the weight of that hand pull it down, the foot down and out to the side. So as we're opening up that hip as much as we can, and keep that breathing going as well. And keeping your shoulders nice and relaxed. Feeling the opening up in your hips. Perfect, coming back down. We're going to sit up or roll up, however you like, and coming in to our tabletop position. So your shoulders are over your wrists, hips are over the knees, toes can be tucked or untucked. So we're going to exhale, push our back up to the ceiling, head down, and inhale, head up, tummy towards the floor. Engage the whole time. And just do a few of these at your own pace. As long as you're marrying the breath with the movement, do whatever feels good to you. And feel free to put in some hip circles, things like that at this point as well. Do what feels good for your body, but this cat-cow movement is really so good for your spine. Flexing and bending it in the opposite direction. And then we're going to come up to downward facing dog. So you can maybe you need to shift your hands forward a little bit. Coming up on your tiptoes, hands are shoulder width apart, feet hip width apart, and pedal your feet as well if you want to stretch off those calves and the hamstrings. Looking towards the back of your mat, lift your right leg up. Now nothing changes, foot still flexed, and then you're going to bring your knee right up as close as you can to your nose, okay? Send the knee back up, and then exhale, coming in again. Inhale, sending that heel back up. One more in here to the nose, and pause, look ahead and bring that right foot forward. Left knee down and coming up into your Crescent Lunge. Toe can be tucked or flat at the back. Now make sure that knee at the front is over your ankle, definitely not in front of your toes. Drop the tailbone, feel the opening between your thighs and stretch up. You can look up or you can look ahead. So just bringing your hands down to either side of your foot, tuck that toe at the back, straighten the leg, and we're going to come into a side plank now. So stacking your feet, doing the full plank, or if you want to, you can take that top leg and bend it just sort of at your hip there, to make it a little bit more accessible, you can also do a forearm plank as well if you want at this point, but keep the hips up. And then put your hand back down, coming into forward plank, down to chaturanga, up to upward dog or a cobra, and then back to downward dog. Just taking a wee breath here. And then your left leg's coming up. I'm going to do those knee to noses again, 3 of them. So inhaling on the way up and exhaling, coming into your nose. And you're going to have to kind of come forward a wee bit on your tiptoes as well to get that knee right in. And then the third one, pausing and bringing your leg forward. If your leg doesn't come forward, you can lift it forward. Back knee down, coming up to a low lunge pose. Remembering that front knee over the ankle. You can tuck the back toe or have your foot flat on the floor. Up to you. Pushing your fingertips up into the air, and then we're going to come round for that side plank again. Another breath here. And then bringing the hands down either side of the foot. Carefully coming onto the side, just bringing that left foot back and into your side plank. The feet can be stacking or it can be one in front of each other. Up to you, see how you get on, but lift those hips, and remember the top leg can come over and give you a little bit more support, but try and be stacked with those shoulders and your wrists as well. So gently coming back round to that full plank pose on your way down to a chaturanga. So your weight's coming forward. You can come right down like this as well if you want and come into cobra pose, and up to downward dog again. Pushing the mat away with your hands, pushing your heels to the floor. They don't need to come all the way to the floor as long as you're pushing them in that direction. And then you're just going to walk up to your hands. Keep your knees bent at this point if you want, as bent as you like. Hold on to your inner elbows and let yourself hang in a ragdoll pose. Let your head and neck come loose. You can sway side to side if you want to. Knees can be as bent as you want, or you can even straighten your legs if you want a wee bit of a hamstring stretch at this point. So from here, we're just going to put our hands to the floor, bending those knees a little bit more. We're going to come up to chair pose, Utkatasana now. So the weight is coming back, your knees are staying behind your toes. Tuck that tailbone to protect your lower back, and bringing your hands up. You can look ahead or you can look up. Come down a wee bit lower if you can, but bearing in mind the weight is in your heels in this one. Feel your glutes and your quads firing up, keeping your breathing nice and even. So bringing your hands into prayer position from here, we're going to come into Navasana. So if you can, lower down till your bottom comes to the floor and come straight into Navasana. Okay, now your shins can be parallel with the floor, chest up and holding on to your thighs if you want to, or have your hands out to the side and your legs straight, or your hands in the air. So there's a few variations there for you. And then coming back down, we're going to come into a staff pose. So feet together, toes pointing up, back nice and straight, shoulders relaxed, and hands just resting on the floor at your hips. And then you're going to take your right leg, cross it over your left leg, and make sure your foot's planted on the floor. Take your left elbow, hook it behind there, and make a sort of stop sign with your hand. Then your right hand comes behind you and lengthen and straighten that spine and twist round to the back. Feeling the nice twist, and make sure that leg that's out long is nice and active, and make sure the foot that's crossed over, all the four corners of the foot are on the floor. Feeling the twist and keeping the breathing going, even though it can be a little bit restrictive in this position. So we're going to do the other side. So left leg over, foot planted on the floor. Then you're bringing your right elbow, hand into stop sign, left hand behind you or beside you. Lengthen the spine, inhale and exhale, come over to the other side. This twist will give your internal organs a really, really nice massage, and a lovely spinal twist as well. Remember not to collapse into your lower back, keeping it nice and straight. So from here we're going to come into a lovely big thigh stretch, saddle pose. So what you're going to do is, from your seated position here, you're going to bend your right knee. Now your foot's not going to be underneath you, it's beside you, so your heel's beside your hip, okay? Thighs are about hip width apart, but they are parallel, and you're just going to lean back as much as you want to, okay? You can come down onto your elbows if you want to. And if it's available to you, you can also come down onto your back, but don't push yourself, and do not have any pain in your knees either. If you do, you can come up and do a Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose, something like that instead. But we don't want any pain in the knee. We want a lovely big stretch. Let that right knee drop down. And when you come back up, be really careful as well, okay? Don't put any strain in the lower back, taking your time coming up. So we're going to do the other side. Let that leg come forward. Bring the left leg, make sure that heel's next to your hip. And again, just pop your hands behind you first of all and see how that feels. That's it, tuck the tailbone under as well. And then you might want to come down onto your elbows or onto the floor. But as long as you're sending that left knee away from you, and if the knee's coming off the floor as well, go back up a little bit. The knee should always be on the floor. So if it's coming up, if you're lying down, just come up on your elbows or hands behind you. But that should feel like a lovely big stretch on your quad there. So from here we're going to come to put soles of our feet together and hold on to our big toes nice and firmly, and lift your feet up like this if you can, and straighten your legs if you can as well. Keep the chest up, but this might be a better option for you, just a wee balance on your bottom just for a second. And then we're going to come into a lovely Shavasana. Put your body on the mat, palms of the hands facing up the way, feet apart, splayed. Just let everything go. Let your body just recalibrate for a wee second or so. Now this can be done for as long as you want, a few minutes or 20 minutes. See how much time you've got, but it's a really important part of your practice. So staying there for as long as you want and getting up really slowly as well. Sitting with your hands at your heart. And we'll finish with a Namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope that's energised you for your day ahead, and do let me know how you got on with that. See you later.